have a question.
Why Canadian cannot bike in the winter, but Finnish people can?
Yeah,
I'm
why?
Canadian. Every time that we react to a video from Finland and I look at you guys' road and everything, it looks so good. And then I remind myself that when I was in Canada 10 years ago, because I've been in Thailand for 10 years, I always remind myself how terrible it is during the winter, the road crack and everything, how it's impossible to have a bicycle during the winter. Like, no, unless you want to die. Because there's no road designed for bicycle in Canada, so and in Thailand we're not gonna even talk about it. I mean, you can drive your bicycle.
I don't have
The
to
problem
know.
is, do you want to get hit by a car or something? Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So by Not Just Bike YouTube channel, it's one of it's the best channel for this kind of topic in the world.
Yeah, amazing.
So let's react and be jealous.
Let's get started.
Here in the Netherlands, our family routinely takes advantage of the network of safe cycling paths found almost everywhere. These are so safe that even our young children can cycle themselves to school, activities, and friends' houses, and they have become an important part of the high quality of life we experience here. Unfortunately, all of this is completely impossible back in Canada because there we have winter. And of course, you can't cycle in the winter, or so I'm told, repeatedly, by people who've never tried it. This is the city of Oulu in Finland. It is considered the winter cycling capital of the world.
How do you... What? Yeah. Okay, I've never seen snow, so you don't understand what I'm saying. You're not supposed to be able to drive your bicycle on that unless you want to fall on the floor. Dude, I think that either the wheel have some special thing on it, or they put something on the road.
It looked like a road. People probably clean it every day.
No, but even that, you're not supposed to be able to drive in Canada on that kind of structure unless there's some kind of heat. I don't know. Let's see.
This is a city where
This is not normal.
22% of all trips are taken by bicycle, and where 77% of the population says they cycle at least occasionally. And yet, despite their harsh winters, over half of these people cycle all year round.
Hey, how do you do that?
And it's not just the young and the strong who cycle in the winter here. You'll see even very elderly people cycling in minus 20-degree weather.
Oh my God, I'm gonna sleep.
This is what the bicycle parking lot of a typical elementary school in Oulu looks like in January.
Wow.
52% of all trips to school and university are taken by bicycle. Somehow, even little Finnish kids can cycle all year round. So this does lead to the obvious question. Why are Canadians such giant wimps?
What, the bicycle?
Oh, with the
But maybe it's not quite that simple. This is the city of Tampere, also in Finland. Despite the fact that Finnish people call this a swimming pool, far fewer people cycle in Tampere
See?
than Oulu.
This is Canada. See? You cannot. That's why you cannot. This is Canada road. You cannot do that.
So why is this? Fortunately, we don't have to guess, because researchers have studied and written papers about winter cycling, and the results are very clear. In cities with cold winters, there is almost no correlation between winter temperatures and the amount of winter cycling. Let that sink in. The temperature and weather conditions do not significantly affect the level of winter cycling in a city.
That
It
means
is
that
a
they're doing
complete
something to
myth
the
that
road.
People do not cycle in the winter because of the cold. So what does the research tell us? Well, there need to be two things in place to get people to cycle like they do in Oulu. First, is there a network of safe bicycle paths? Is it possible to get to where you want to go without having to share the road or regularly cross paths with high-speed motor traffic?
Yeah.
This is something that Oulu does exceptionally well. Oulu has 875 kilometers of separated bicycle paths that connect every part of the city.
Look how well it's maintained. Look, someone taking care of it like every day.
That's
Yeah,
over
see?
4 meters of bicycle path.
Because when you take the bicycle in Canada, the cycling and then the car, and then you're gonna see hole and water instead of just like snow like this. So it's not gonna look velvet like this. This look like a road.
For every resident. In fact, Oulu has only about 600 meters of painted bicycle lanes in the entire city, which makes perfect sense because when it snows, you can't see white paint. But you can see images cleverly projected on the snow from above. Nicely done, Oulu. And this is not some kind of super compact medieval
that?
European city either. Oulu has plenty of car-centric
Supermarket?
sprawl, and many people live in single-family homes.
I thought we
In
react
fact,
to
it
this
has
before.
almost
Yeah.
exactly the same urban population density as my hometown of London, Ontario in Canada. Like, this is creepy how close these numbers are. And why is it that every city has the ugliest flags, except for Amsterdam? Anyway, there is literally zero reason why a typical mid-sized Canadian city couldn't be like Oulu if it was designed properly. Oulu just takes the effort to connect every resident to the places they want to go with safe paths for walking and cycling.
Oh, true, right?
And even better, many of these bicycle paths are designed to be shortcuts that are faster than driving, encouraging people to cycle even more, just as is done in the Netherlands.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't enough, Oulu also has over 300 underpasses that pedestrians and cyclists can use to avoid major roads.
This is not
These
for
make
car.
it possible to cycle entire journeys without ever encountering a traffic
Oh my
light
God.
or even needing to stop. This should not be a surprise to anyone.
Ooh, snow
A
heavy.
network of safe bicycle lanes is the single biggest predictor for the level of cycling in any city in the world. It's
Because remember, the car destroyed the road, right? So these roads are not going to be cracked like the road with the car on it. So it's a lot less risky to drive your bicycle when there's no like bump in the way.
Yeah.
It make a pretty big difference because those road will remain really like good quality for long. Don't need to repair the road that often and everything.
significantly more important than any other metric, including culture, distance, hills, and in this case, weather. After a safe bicycle network, the next most important element is snow removal.
See, they clean
Is the bicycle
it.
network properly maintained in the winter? And this is the real key to Oulu's success, as there are very, very, very few cities that do this well.
Yeah.
Toronto, as an example, is a city with fairly mild winters, compared to Finland and most of Canada for that matter. Yet very, very few people cycle there in the winter. When you look at videos of winter cycling in Toronto, is there any surprise? Most
See,
people
you need to take your bicycle where the people are walking on the side, right? And look, there's snow accumulating on both sides, right? And it's not super easy actually. It's more difficult. You don't really want to do it. It's if the car drive too fast on the side, it's gonna splash the water on you.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get water on you and slush and
Toronto's bicycle paths are painted bicycle gutters. These become dumping grounds for snow.
yeah.
They're routinely driven over by drivers, leaving tread marks that melt and refreeze
Yeah.
into impassable paths of jagged ice, forcing
Look.
cyclists to share the road with cars.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Even the proper separated bicycle paths often get
See?
snow dumped in them by
Yeah.
snowplows. And only a fraction of the already minuscule bicycle network is
Oh,
maintained
you
in
already
winter.
get wet for
The
that.
city says they
Yeah.
don't even start plowing unless there's more than 5 centimeters of snow. This is the reason why few people cycle through the winter in Toronto or any other Canadian city, not the
Toronto.
weather. In Oulu, the priority bicycle routes are all plowed within 3 hours of a 2-centimeter snowfall, and they will be plowed multiple times per day if necessary.
Wow. See? Ooh.
Snow removal contractors
That'd be
guarantee
different.
that the depth of
Yeah.
the snow will never exceed 4 centimeters, and they maintain the paths with hard-packed snow that is free of ice and debris, making it easy to cycle on.
Yeah.
To put it simply, the bicycle paths in Oulu are considered important pieces of infrastructure that get people from point A to point B.
I mean, yo, that's what I said. They don't do anything in particular. It just makes sure that the snow is never higher than 4 centimeter. So basically, you can drive without fearing to fall on the floor.
Oh my God.
It's good, huh?
So
Wow.
good.
They don't want cyclists to start competing for space on public transit, or worse, to drive cars, just because it snowed. They make it
Wow.
a priority. Oulu proves that cold is not the issue. Snow is not the issue. Winter is a lazy excuse used by ignorant people to make the discussion of safe road infrastructure go away. The snow might explain why only 22% of trips in your city are taken by bicycle instead of, say, 42%. But when less than 2% of your population rides a bike, it's not because of the weather. It's because people don't feel safe cycling. Period. The truth is, cycling in cold weather is really not bad at all. Toronto routinely gets cold days, but without much snow, where the roads are perfectly clear. So after getting sick of waiting on transit vehicles that were constantly stuck in traffic because Canadian public transit is stupid and counterproductive,
Where are you from?
I decided to try cycling to work in the winter.
I think
and
he is in Canada. But he live in the Netherlands.
hardcore, extreme about cycling in winter. I did it, and I assure you, I am not a particularly tough person. Just ask my brother.
You mean my brother? He's a total wimp.
At first, I had some problems with ice, but then I discovered studded winter tires. These things are like magic on ice. I never slipped once when using them. It's interesting to note, though, that
Yeah.
most people do not use studded tires in Oulu, because when you plow your bicycle paths properly, they're not slippery at all. And the same goes for sidewalks. Seriously, winter maintenance of the sidewalks and bicycle paths in Oulu is incredible. This is complicated and
Just pausing to let you know that we have 4 other YouTube channels. We have a Japanese channel, a Polish channel, a German/Netherlands, and also Suji new YouTube channel. Please go help her get 1,000 subscribers so she can get monetized. Okay, let's continue.
expensive, but it's still a fraction of the cost of maintaining wide roads and highways for cars.
Yeah, true.
Oulu shows what is possible if your city isn't bankrupt from maintaining too much car infrastructure. Oulu tracks data on cyclists very well with automated bicycle detectors like these.
Oh my god.
What's interesting is that the number of people cycling in winter stays pretty consistent until the temperature goes below about minus 20 degrees. And even then, it only drops by 15%.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
This may surprise you, but one thing I consistently hear from people who try winter cycling is that they're a lot warmer than they thought they'd be. I thought cycling in the winter would be frigidly cold, but you warm up surprisingly quickly.
You exercise in the
And
clothes that
cycling
you
in the
wear.
snow is
Yeah.
actually quite pleasant. Drivers typically drive much slower, the noise pollution of the city is muffled, and it's easy to maintain a comfortable temperature in all but the coldest
Wow.
weather conditions. I definitely prefer it, by far, to cycling in the rain.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people like to talk about the gear you need for winter cycling, so I'll share what I would typically wear when cycling in the winter. First, I recommend a jacket. This is like a big warm shirt that you wear over your clothes. Next, you'll need gloves. These are kind of like shoes, but for your hands, which is why both the Dutch and the Germans call them hand shoes. I'd also recommend one of these woolen head coverings. People call these by many different names, but they're all wrong. It's called a toque. Now,
Wait. That's
different names, but
Why
they're
is-
all wrong.
Oh, the
It's
toque.
called a toque.
in Turk. Why are you speaking French? Or maybe just in Turk, in French it's Tuque. You don't have a O. It's Turk in Turk.
Wait,
It's
how
in
did you
toque.
pronounce?
Well, I think maybe is it a Dutch name or a German name? You say Touk because Tuou. It's in Turk in French.
Oh yeah, so he speak English.
Yeah, but he's using a word that I don't know which nationality Touk, like he's saying, is.
Now that you've got your specialized gear, you're ready to go cycling in the winter.
I guess it's Finnish. It's
Now,
not
when the
French,
temperatures
though.
get really cold, like below minus 20 degrees,
Oh my
you'll
God.
want to wear more layers and a scarf. But it's exactly the same kind of clothing that Canadians routinely
whatever.
wear when skiing, snowmobiling, or doing any other kind of winter activity. You can even get pogies for your bike to keep your hands warm, just like they do for snowmobiles. These are great. Thankfully, several frigid Canadian cities have stopped giving cyclists the cold shoulder and are warming up to the idea of winter cycling, though progress is still glacial. Insert joke about snow. Edmonton, Alberta recently built a network of protected bicycle lanes downtown and now plows the protected bicycle network with the same priority as major roads. When I was in Yellowknife, which is here, I was impressed by the quality of the new bicycle infrastructure they were installing. And Montreal saw an 83% increase in winter cycling in 2020 over the previous year's average, likely due in part to the addition of more separated bicycle lanes.
Yeah.
They've also started to use not just snowplows, but ice crushing machines like this one to clear the bicycle paths. And I really enjoy the dramatic music in the manufacturer's marketing video.
To be fair, we have a little bit more tougher winter in Montreal, where I'm from, compared to like Toronto, where the winter in Montreal are a bit tougher. So we're usually ahead because we're French. We usually try to be ahead of the curve. The rest of Canada.
But while this is good progress,
Wow, that's
all
good
of
one.
this pales in comparison to Oulu. Edmonton only plows a small 8-kilometer bike network downtown, and only within 24 hours. Most of Yellowknife's bike network is still painted bicycle gutters. And Montreal puts away their bike share bikes in
I need
winter.
to talk about it.
Unfortunately, winter is still used as the #1 excuse for inaction in Canadian cities, even in cities that get very little snow in the winter. Meanwhile, Oulu gets more snow than almost any major city in Canada.
Oh.
Canadians also love to exaggerate about the cold, but most Canadian cities only get a handful of really truly cold days per year, just like Finland. But when your
I
only
mean-
exposure to winter is the walk across
No. What do you consider cold? For me, real cold, minus 30 or worse. But theoretically, at minus 25, it get unpleasant.
Oh, like school need to stop, thing like that.
Minus 30, the school stops. So 3-4 days per year, the school will stop. It doesn't get minus 30 plus that often. But it's not only about what the temperature says. It's what it feel like.
Oh,
Like sometimes it feel much colder than the temperature is, you know, with the wind and stuff like this, you know.
the parking lot to your car, you never get used to the weather, and you get an exaggerated sense of how cold it gets. Ultimately, like everything else with cycling, it just comes down to safety and convenience, and cold weather doesn't significantly change that. A great place to learn more is the Winter Cycling Congress that happens every February. This event brings together advocates and professionals with this year, the Congress is being held that attend the Winter Cycling Congress or not, we need more people to learn the truth about winter cycling. And more places should be designed this way so that cities can be as healthy, productive, convenient, and sustainable as Oulu. I'd like to thank my supporters on Patreon who pay me to channel.
Wow, it looked almost too easy.
wow, the tree everywhere too.
Yeah. It looks super easy. Is this a Finnish song? I don't know this song. Is it copyright?
Yeah, is it?
I don't know.
We'll have to mute.
I mean, it doesn't look more difficult than during the summer, honestly. It looked easy.
Do you mean during the cold?
Yeah, it looked as easy as during the summer to do bicycle.
Wow. I mean, there's a lot of things that they always can do, you know, like in that country.
Yeah, in
Like-
Finland.
Yeah, no matter what the weather gonna be, they always find their stuff, and also they really care about their citizen a lot. Like, look at that machine truck thing. Like
Multiple time per day, yeah.
they have to work hard to help people to have like good life. That's so amazing.
Yeah, this is perfect. And I mean, of course, always a road to progress. But if in North America or in Thailand we were doing just half of this, people would be so happy. Just half of this, you know. Yeah,
Yeah.
people are overly dependent of car and motorbike. And so I'm not driving neither of those. I'm driving a little mobilette. How do we call it? A scooter?
The e-bike is e-bicycle, electric bicycle.
It go 30 kilometers per hour.
So basically, you're right.
Yeah, I drive the equivalent of a bike in Europe, but I don't have any. I cannot drive a bicycle because it doesn't go fast enough. Because everything is far from here. So anyway, yeah, nice video.
Yeah.
Please suggest us more video like this. Yes. Okay.